If you attended Halloween Horror Nights last year, whether it was in Orlando or Hollywood, they tweeted out a picture and it was rather interesting, and it set ablaze to the internet, especially for the HHN community. But there was something on there that pretty much caught the eye of everyone and had such a speculation and such a word of mouth in the community. And that would have been go to Halloween Horror Nights. Now that could mean a lot of different things if you take a look at what they did last year, which we'll examine that in just a second. Just the statement of go to Horror Nights can mean so much. Could it be a house? Could it be a zone? Could it be a house in a zone? Could it be a show? It could be a lot of different things. So sit back, grab a snack, and let's dive into this latest speculation on Halloween Horror Nights 2024. Let's try to discover what it could mean.
Now, first up, we're going to dive into Orlando's Halloween Horror Nights from last year. We actually had a surprise Megan dance show, which was really cool. It was very random of how they did it, but Megan was featured at the event. Kind of cool. Then we're going to move on to the Peacock Halloween Horror Bar, which actually featured the Purge character for a meet and greet, as well as Blumhouse had the Exorcist Believer as a haunted house at last year's event. Then later on in the season, they brought Blumfest back to Orlando. Although it wasn't a part of Halloween Horror Nights, it did sort of heavily lean on Halloween Horror Nights with a Q&A with A&D, who are the creators behind Halloween Horror Nights, and it also featured the Blumhouse photo experience that opened up later on in the month of October. So plenty of connections and nods to Blumhouse at Horror Nights of Orlando, and even more when it came to Hollywood. They had just a unique, different Blumhouse experience where they didn't have really the meet and greet characters that they had, but they had taking place in the DreamWorks theater. It was kind of like this really cool behind the scenes. You got to look at Five Nights at Freddy's trailer, I think the Exorcist Believer, and they also did the Megan dance show inside. But what was really cool is that they actually had the Black Phone character, the Grabber, standing on the outside, the Magician one, and then there was another alternative version of him inside meeting with guests, and you can take photos with them. So that was cool. And as well as they had the Purge Dangerous Waters, which was their nightly action show revolving around the Purge universe and telling sort of a singular story that happens during the Purge. Really enjoyed that show, and just showcased that Blumhouse is becoming really entangled with Halloween Horror Nights.
And to talk about how Blumhouse might be coming to Halloween Horror Nights this year, we're going to break it down in 3 separate categories. Number 1 being houses, number 2 scare zone, and number 3 would be a show.
Hello, my name's Jason Blum, and I have a very special announcement. So we at Blumhouse have had a bunch of successful collaborations with Halloween Horror Nights.
When it comes to houses at Halloween Horror Nights, Blumhouse is no stranger to this. They've been featured multiple times throughout the years, having compilation houses, having a house with 2 properties in it, and actually having some solo house runs with The Exorcist, The Purge, Insidious as well. With taking a look at the 2024 landscape, if we're going the route that they did last year with The Exorcist Believer having just a solo house, I don't think there's enough properties for them to do a 2-run house like they've done, at least in the past. But I do think this is going to be a solo experience, much like we had The Exorcist Believer. Case in point, I don't think if they did Five Nights at Freddy's, it would be a combined house with something else. I just don't see that happening. It's too big of a property to try to split it. And I think there's enough material there that it could be a solo run house. Now let's move on to scare zones, which could be really interesting if they go this route. In the past, they have featured Blumhouse characters. Even last year, we had the Purge character at the Peacock meet and greet experience. So scare zone wise, if it were to be a scare zone, I think we could see something like that. The Purge has been used before. Doesn't mean that it couldn't be used again. It was featured at Halloween Horror Nights quite a bit last year. But I think even cooler if we would get something like Blumhouse's, I don't know, like Scare Zone of Monsters or something like that. Just a working title. But a all-night die-in type of experience where you would have multiple Blumhouse characters. You can have Beghoul from Sinister, characters from Insidious, Purge characters. They can even bring in the Exorcist girl from Believer. They can bring so much Blumhouse history. Happy Death Day. I mean, the list goes on of how many characters they could feature in a solo type-esque movie scare zone. And they did kind of tease this picture about like a Blumhouse cinema type of thing. That would be kind of cool as an overlay for Scare Zone, but that's just me wild speculating. And while we are speculating, let's get on to a show type of experience. Now, last year, we did have Megan being a little mini show, and sadly, we have not had a Lagoon type show. And being with the latest rumors of Universal debuting their new drone type of experience Lagoon show coming some point this year, it would be kind of cool, and it would diverse the crowds and kind of at least help the wait times at Horror Nights if we had a Lagoon show back at Horror Nights, which could feature Blumhouse properties like Five Nights at Freddy's. That would be kind of cool to have part of a Lagoon show.
And there you have it. That is what I think of my speculation about Blumhouse teasing us. What do you all think? Or what would be your dream Blumhouse property, or what you would want to see done at Halloween Horror Nights this year? Leave it down in the comment section, as well as, did you know last year we did over 40 different haunted houses? And in this video, I picked my very best. I gave my award to the top haunted houses of last year. So check out that video and see if you agree with me or if you maybe disagree. And I'll catch you all on another video very, very soon. Peace out, everybody.